We're getting closer to the end. The end means the end of days. The end of days means Moshiach is very, very close, my friends. So get ready. Big day Shabbos. Put on your big day Shabbos. Make sure to invest gold, silver, and land. And crypto is a good idea as well. B'ezrat Hashem. Just don't choose the meme ones, because some Hollywood star makes up some coin. Doesn't mean that it's going to go to the moon or anything. So, B'ezrat Hashem. So we are at the part of the story where Esther calls out Haman for being the one that wants to create Jewish genocide. And it wasn't the last time that someone tried to destroy the Jewish people. But just like in the story of Purim, the very thing that was trying to destroy the Jewish people ended up saving us and so much more. That was able to create a new decree, because you couldn't rescind the original decree, which was that you could go and kill the Jews. But now a new decree was made, because you can't rescind the decree that was made with the ring of the king, the Tabas HaMelech. So the new decree was that you now have permission to go and destroy all the anti-Semites in the world, to destroy evil itself. So Hashem made that every single thing that you thought was the worst thing for you becomes the greatest things. And that's the story of our entire life. That's why Purim is never going to end. Purim is going to be the holiday that goes on forever. Exactly what you think in your 120 years in this world, and your 120 years from previous lifetimes and previous reincarnations, what you thought that was so bad, for all eternity, Hashem is going to be showing it to you. Those are the greatest things possible. So much so that it's the holiday for all eternity. So now Esther calls out Haman, this is the one. And what happens? We're in Zion, Zaz. We got to move. Zaz. Ve'amelech kom b'chamosa mishte yayin. Chapter 7, verse 7. Elginas habison. He goes to try to calm himself down. Looks like when you want to calm yourself down, you go to the garden. Ve'haman omad. Levake shal nafsha me Esther amalko. So in all the books, like Haman's getting up and he's like, Esther, and like falling onto Esther. Ki ra ki kol sa'elav hara meisa melech, that he saw that now the end of evil was near. And all the Svarim point out what happens when a candle is about to be extinguished, when it knows its end is near, when the head of the snake is about to get cut off. So everything goes nuts. Evil goes crazy when it gets pinned to a wall. It knows its end is about to happen. It flickers and flashes and goes crazy. Pops and crackles and snapples, if that's a word. The end of evil was very close. So Haman gets up like, Esther! And what happens in the meantime? Ve'amelech shav. Megillas habison el beis hamishta yayin. He comes back to the drinking party. Again, this is all happening around the yayin, because you can only get to that level if there's some wine in the system. Because in this world, we can't make sense of the evil, of how it's all part of one big plan. But on Purim, you can get a taste of it. And what does he see? V'Haman noifel al amita sher Ester alea. And Haman is falling onto the bed. These were parties that everyone was on beds. Haman's falling onto the bed that Esther is there. Not only do you want to kill the entire Jewish people, and you're trying to have relations with my wife in my own house? That's chutzpah. That's already too much. He couldn't say a single word. V'yomer charvoina echad men asarisim. Charvoina. All of a sudden, this charvoina is around. Now we know charvoina is Eliyahu Navi, who was disguised as one of the ministers of the king, of Achashverosh. And all of a sudden, he pipes in. They're so interesting. Gam hine ha'etza shirasa Haman lamorlech asher diber toiv alana. It's so interesting. There's a 50 amma, there's an 8-story pole of wood right there. Oh, just so you know, King Achash, what a coincidence. or like we say around here, a coincidence. You like that one? The ka inside of us. There's a bi adoni. There's a giant gallows. What great placement. Good city planning, Haman. Yesher koyach. That municipal planning that was initially meant for Mordechai, that exact eitz then becomes the hangman for Haman. And remember, Mordechai said good things about the king. Oimed bebeis Haman gavoyach amishemama. The yomer amelech teluhu alav. Go hang him on it. The yitlu es Haman al ha'etz. At that point, when they say that verse, the yitlu Haman es ha'etz, the place goes wild. Yeah. You can see Rav Gil. He's going to go in good. He's not jumping. Rav Gil gets air. I'm telling you. Yeah. Like, yeah. Every other Haman is like, Rav Gil, okay? Single. But this is, yeah, you'll see. Don't worry. Rav Gil's going to go wild. Wild. By the way, we said from the Sanzer Rebbe that the Rama already brings down that it's a kosher minog to clap by the Hamans. And the Sanzer Rebbe says if somebody is in a town where they don't clap by the Hamans, don't live in that city. That's dark. See, I brought that down. That means there's something very powerful about the banging by the Haman. Be careful not to say like boo. You don't want to say words. I hate that guy. That type of stuff. Like you're in the middle of Megillah reading. And the meaning is to make noise. You have a gragger.
Stomp, right?
Yeah, stomp. Stomp is a big one. We're into the stomping. Some say only a single stomp per Haman. There's minhag like that. A single kornit. Like Bayisham. Others do a little bit more. But definitely by this one, this is it. The yitlu es Haman ala eighth. They hung him on the eighth. That's it. Gone. Shehichin leMordechai. Chamas hamelech shachacha. And the anger of the king for the evil was appeased. Which you see, when evil gets its due, when evil comes to trial, there's something that's satisfying when justice is served. When evil comes to trial. That's why the Nuremberg trials were so powerful. When you see that there's such a thing as people who did war crimes and people who killed, and they're taken to trial in a righteous way, and evil is forced out of its hole. It's a very, very good thing. It's a very godly thing. That's why one of the brachas in Shemon Ester is Hashiva Shoifteinu Kevarishayna. Please Hashem, bring back the Sanhedrin. Bring back real men of justice that are going to judge righteously. Men that are afraid of only one, Hashem. The ones that don't take bribes and are not paid off. That are true judges. That finally, once and for all, we could judge the evil for what it is and then continue on with the Messianic era. We should mamash be zoich to this. The oilam should have a freilich in Purim. We should be zoich mamash to once and for all that take Haman. And it's interesting because we mentioned the prequel of the whole story. What was the prequel? Is that when Achashverosh had begun his reign, there were many nations that weren't so happy that Achashverosh was now in this position. And there were he wasn't from a royal lineage. There were nations that were trying to topple his reign from the beginning. So Achashverosh sent 2 armies headed by Mordechai and headed by Haman to be able to fend off the onslaught of those that wanted to stomp Achashverosh. And we know what happened, that Haman wasted all of his food because they were just partying, and Mordechai rationed it appropriately for the soldiers. So Haman came to Mordechai and said, so, you got some whiskey, left? He said, you just blew all your food and partied it up. So he said, yeah, but we need food. He said, fine, but make me your slave. I'm going to be your master, Haman. And that was a secret. There's different gears. Either he wrote it on his boot or Haman tattooed it into him. I saw a girsa like that. He tattooed it into him. that he's Mordechai's slave.
If you have a Kanani, you can still get a tattoo.
So before that, he was before his. So they bring down in Breslov. They say, what was the whole inyan? Like what? Because we know that when somebody becomes the Eved of a Yid, especially the Gadol Ador, you have a responsibility to be makar of them, a responsibility to teach them Torah, a responsibility. So what was Mordechai really saying? He was saying even such evil can be brought back, and even though Haman didn't get the message, Mordechai woke up certain sparks inside of Haman. Like it says that Haman's children are learning Torah in Bnei Brak. That something did wake up. Something, even in Amalek, something was redeemed. B'ezrat Hashem. So we should be zoiche to know that Hashem has a plan in everything. Everything that Hashem is doing is completely beseder, in the Seder. And that's why Purim is 30 days before Pesach. Because already that inyan of Seder, already you start to realize, what do you do on Seder night? You talk about miracles. What's Seder about that? That's not Seder. No, but for the Jew, that is Seder. That the world works in miraculous ways and God is running everything. Just the Seder of Purim is showing you that He's doing it in a hidden way. And then 30 days later, you realize Hashem does it in miraculous ways as well. Purim is the biggest day of the year. We should be Zoicha Mamish to La Yehuda Maisa Oyer V'Simcha V'Sasam V'Yikar Kein T'Gilanu. Amen. Come to Ayuni Hatzayra V'Simcha V'Simcha